Hello everyone. I cut my hair because I needed some sense of control over my life. It's true. At least I look cute. Today I'm going to tell you my coming out story. I remember going back, even, when I was very young, consciously choosing boys to have crushes on. Based on weird things, like there was a boy I really liked when I was in preschool, and I just was in love with him because he had red cowboy boots. You heard me. He had red cowboy boots. And so I was in love with him. If that doesn't scream gay, I don't know what does. I got married to a kid in 2nd grade. He was very nice, but we were in a 1-2 combo class, and then when I moved on to 3rd grade and he was still, he was in 2nd grade at that point, I decided I was too old for him. So we decided not to get married. I would choose these boys because they felt safe to me, and in hindsight, looking at where they are now, I think a lot of the reason for that is because they're all gay now. And then in high school, when it got, more serious, when people had actual boyfriends, I almost dated a lot of guys. Whenever it got close to turning into a real thing and they'd actually ask me out and it wasn't just like a little flirtationship, I would feel really sick, like to my stomach. And all my friends were like, oh, that's just butterflies, like you're supposed to feel that. And I was like, okay. And I would just shut down all communication and run away, and that would be the end of that relationship. During high school and even a little bit of late middle school, I was starting to have crushes on my friends that were girls. I did not recognize that they were crushes, mainly because I was terrified of being gay for some reason. And I think part of that came from the fact that actually all the lesbians I'd seen were fairly butch on the scale of femme to butch, and I'm very not that. So how could I possibly be gay? And if I was gay, then I'd have to be like that. So it just didn't make any sense to me. Now there was a girl who I went on a test date with because we were both exploring our sexualities and trying to figure out, what's going on. And so we ended up going to a movie together and holding hands the whole time, even when our hands got sweaty, which is so pure. Just to see if, there were feelings there, just to see if we were maybe queer. And after the movie, she was like, I'm so glad we did this. I said, me too. She goes, yeah, I definitely know that I'm straight. And I was like, me too. Single tear on the inside. So that went great. But it actually kind of did go great because then I knew there was something up with me. And I sort of tucked it away, but from that point on, I always knew it was there. My freshman year of college, I came out as bisexual to a bunch of my friends and my parents. My parents were chill. I actually came out to my parents with a 6-page letter. Look, I'm very thorough, and it discussed the different spectrums of attractions. We have sexual attraction, romantic attraction, aesthetic attraction. Where I fall in all of those, I'm pretty sure there were graphs. And what I didn't realize was that I didn't even mention that I was bisexual until like the 3rd page. And my parents read at different speeds. So my dad got to it way before my mom did, and it was just very confusing for everyone. And even though my dad reads pretty fast, it still took him a second. So I ended up sitting there for a few minutes, waiting, and that was terrible. Do not recommend. If you're gonna come out with a letter, 1 page or less, start with, I'm queer. That is my recommendation to you all. Pretty shortly after I got to college, I met this guy and we were friends, and we started dating, and we dated for almost a year. Let's just say it didn't go well. And I'll admit that I'm grateful to him because it was a crash course in pretty much everything that can go wrong in a relationship within the course of a year. And yeah, that sounds terrible, and it was. But what was awesome about it is I only had to go through 1 crappy relationship in order to learn all of that and learn what it was that I was really looking for. And I wouldn't say that he made me gay, but he definitely helped me realize it. I fully came out as gay my senior year of college. Basically, we had this new professor. She asked us to go up in front of the class, introduce ourselves, and say where we kind of pictured ourselves in 5 to 10 years. And I very casually slipped in that I hoped to have a wife. And I saw people like whispering to each other, but not in like a bad way, just like, oh, that's did she just say that? Yes, I did. And what's great is both, you know, at my alma mater and then also within the musical theater community, people are very chill about people being queer. I was mom at my college, everyone called me mom, and I sort of took care of the kids in the program that were younger than me. And one day I was with a couple of my guy friends as they were swiping through Tinder, and I was giving my opinion on the girls as they swiped through. They sort of peer pressured me in a good way to download Her, which is an awesome app for queer women. You can be looking for friends, you can be looking for someone to date, you can be looking for a hookup, like whatever you want to do, you can do it on this app. It's awesome. And the second person I talked to was some girl named Allie. I made it very clear that I just was looking for friends. She pretended to go along with that. We messaged for a while, we FaceTimed each other a couple of times, because you know, you gotta make sure that the other person isn't catfishing you or is like a murderer. That could happen. And the first time we hung out, which I'll have the two of us tell that story in another video, but the first time we hung out, it was all over. She left that night after we hung out, and I sort of just looked at myself in the bathroom mirror as I was getting ready for bed, and I was like, damn it, this is my wife. Terrible. Because I was gonna move and we only had 3 months to like figure out if this was gonna be a thing or not, which is crazy and like bachelorette level insanity. But clearly it worked out, so good for us, I guess. And of course, coming out is still an ongoing process whenever we meet someone new, or we're going to a new place, or working with someone. It's always a little something you have to figure out how to weave into conversation, which is always very interesting. I would definitely recommend coming out, but only if you're safe and supported. But if you have those two things in place, it's a really amazing thing to do and is just a huge weight off your shoulders. So yeah, that's my coming out story. Thanks so much for watching. That's all for now, and I'll see you soon.